We start by each one of you introducing yourselves and as well as a little bit of like what do you do and also how old are your kids?
My name is Shannon Bienvenu. I am in marketing and branding, so social media for me is part of my business actually. And my children are 19 and 16.
Good evening, everyone. Viva Fry, David Fry. I'm a Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, but I'm still a litigator or a lawyer and a YouTuber. We have 3 kids. That's my wife right over there. We have 3 kids, 10, 6, and 3, and 2 dogs, one of whom is paralyzed in the back legs. They all want to be influencers, including the dogs as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicola Hill. I have another marketing agency, so again, in the industry. I have 2 children, a boy who's 10 years old and a girl who's 9.
Hi everyone, my name is Pamela. I'm a mindfulness teacher and I definitely use social media as a platform to spread my teachings and also generate traffic and sales. So my kids are actually turning 14 next week and 7 next month. And yeah, thank you Patrick for having us here tonight.
Thank you for taking the time to being here. I know I was kind of like nervous at start when I started and I was like, okay, let's put the show on the roll, let's get everyone here. And now we're here.
We are, I guess.
Yeah. So, and in the first podcast panels, we had Nicola and Pamela with us, and we discussed about their kids. And now we're going to be expanding on those topics and have new questions for tonight. So it's going to be very good.
Ooh.
I'm also very happy to see some of you have kids who actually want to become influencers. I'm very curious to see how was your reactions. I know some of you are also already in the field. You're already on social media and so on. So it's very interesting to see like how does that play into your household? So let's start with, basically like maybe like what are some of your views for social media?
Okay, well, that's a very broad question, Patrick. How much time do we have? I'm just kidding. Okay, so social media, it's everywhere, it's omnipresent. If you're not on Facebook, I mean, it's very rare today not to have, even like older people, much older people, everyone pretty much has Facebook. I was in a yoga teacher's training this weekend and we were a class of 30 and the teacher asked like to form a group and asked how many people out of the 30 were on social media or had Facebook, and out of the 30, 29 said yes. So that's just to give you a statistic, and in the range there was people from 18 to 55 about. Social media is something that can be extremely beautiful and uniting and bring amazing gifts. It can also be something with a double-edged sword if it's not used properly. With my background in mindfulness, I think it's always about the intention and what you do with the tool. I think the important thing to remember is it's just a tool. And once you understand that it's an external thing and from that, what your intention is defines how you use it, then it can be something extremely beautiful.
Yeah, I'm biased. Obviously, having a marketing agency is a big part of my day-to-day. I do see the flaws and the positives of the industry, of the tool, exactly as you said. I think used correctly and it can be a very powerful thing, and it's all about being mindful. So I think it's all about portion, using it in the right way, but obviously I'm a big advocate for it because I use it and I encourage my clients to use it, so yeah.
Well, when you say it's a double-edged sword, when my daughter said she wanted to make her own YouTube channel, and she had seen me making my YouTube videos for 5 years, and I said, okay, before you do that, go look in the mirror, stare at yourself for 5 minutes, pick out the things that you think someone is going to make fun of you about, multiply that by 10, and if you're ready to deal with that type of nonsense, then social media, you might be ready to dive into social media, but while we're talking about being an influencer and social media in general, this is for anybody who wants to be an influencer or who doesn't, who's going to use social media. The same rules and warnings are pretty much going to apply. But social media is wonderful in that it allows you to reach people, and it's terrible in that it allows you to reach people and people to reach you. I guess we'll get into that in a bit. Not to sound too cryptic.
Ditto. No, I'm joking. I said I was going to do that to my husband. And I said if I had nothing more to add, I'd just say ditto. And I really have nothing more to add other than it is great for advertising. and for connecting. A lot of my new friends today that I've met has been through social media, right around the world. I know, and case in point. So there is great positive things that come from social media, but at the same time, they can be bullied. You can create depression, create anxiety. The sense of needing to post rather than being in a moment can be overwhelming, even for me, and I'm 51. And I'll still have those urges where I want to be present in the moment with my family. And I'm thinking, oh, I better post that, right? So it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Does anyone here have their kids on social media already? Does anyone here have like their kids have an account? Okay. What are like what are some of the great outcomes you've seen them being on social media so far?
Well, I guess I'll start this one. My daughter, our kids don't have Facebook yet. One of them has a YouTube channel, and one of the things that she said that she loves about the YouTube channel is that it makes her sort of more outgoing and courageous to try new things not for content in like the exploitive sense, but we went ziplining and she was excited to make a video about that and excited to go and experience ziplining. But not Facebook just yet. That I think we'll wait another few years for.
Okay, so my daughter's on Facebook, my son is on YouTube. So, but I was very careful with the privacy settings for Facebook. It was a huge thing. And as you can tell, I'm an immigrant. And I don't know what gave that away. Anyway, so my family is dispersed all over the world, right? And my daughter cannot connect easily with her distant family, her grandparents, anyone. And some of them she hasn't even really met since she's been over the age of 5, so she can't really visualize that relationship. Facebook has actually opened an opportunity for her to communicate with people she would never really communicate with. We're divorced, so I don't really have a connection with my ex-husband's side anymore, but she is able to connect with her grandparents on that side, and she can't really remember the experience, but Facebook has opened that opportunity. So obviously we kept her friend network into just the family and real friends, and she has all the privacy and everything really set up properly, so it's well monitored, and she only uses it very rarely, but it's for communication. And it allows her family that I'm not so connected with to see what she's doing on day to day, like her exams, her how she's doing, different activities, like what so they don't really need to keep up to date with me. They can see everything that she's experiencing, living, and her life in Montreal. My son, YouTube. He really wants to do a lot of what the other YouTubers are doing. And actually, I think it's helping him grow relationships in the real world because he's connecting with his friends at school and they're making videos together. They're very amateur. I hope to help him go to the next stage. I'm not sure if we're there yet. Like he keeps talking about green screens and all sorts of things. And we're going to do it, but I keep putting it off. So he's doing amateur videos with his friends, and it's encouraging him as well. Also, even though I'm an Anglophone, my kids are actually Francophones. They're born in France, my ex-husband is French, and it's actually helping him really practice and be bilingual, pushing both languages out there, mixing with his friends, his bilingual friends, and really showing different activities. So I think some real positives come out of it for my kids,
For me, well, Rafi's been on Instagram for a couple of months now, and my son is dyslexic, so he has a hard time writing, and it's given him a way to actually express himself verbally, and it's really cool. But in terms of it's not so much social media. My son wants to be a gamer, like a professional gamer. We've spoken about this many times. So not a lot of people know that there's actually a program with the government now and the Ministry of Education within high school in Montreal where they have 30 hours a week of gaming. So it's being integrated into the school system. And he's very, very serious about it. He spends so much time on it. And at one point, when your kid is passionate about something, whether it's soccer, hockey, whatever it is, you want them to engage with that passion. And if you're spending that much time, you might as well do something with it. That's how I look at it. So this summer, since the podcast episode, he went to a camp in Sherbrooke, which is affiliated to the same program. And they have a camp where they teach them to be gamers, basically. With the ethics, with the how to take care of your body, how to take care of your mind, all the bullying aspect, how to perform as a gamer, because when you're playing this many hours, you have to take care of your body as well. So and my 7-year-old really wants a YouTube channel, but that means I'm gonna have to manage it. I'm not so sure I'm ready for that yet. I have way too many projects on the go. So yeah.
Well, both my kids, of course, touch on social media. All my family lives outside of Quebec, so it is the way that they connect. However, our son, who's 19, did get into gaming, but we didn't see it as a positive. I can't say it's a negative. He often says he has a lot of his skills today because of it, but I do see social skills, like that interaction or that ability to go and know how to break through a crowd. That skill isn't developed because he can do it online, but he doesn't have to do it live. Our daughter does have Instagram, and she loves to take pictures of herself and then delete them. And we're just getting over the hurdle of whether or not we let her post bikini shots. But at the end of the day, it's all for fun, right? Like, really, if they handle it and they don't get overly zealous about how they look to the point of changing themselves, then I think it's just part of growing up. It's sort of their way of integrating in the world today like we did when we were younger.
So, just a quick question: is any of your kids on TikTok? Yes. Yeah, I know, and it's all the kids. It's like they're all on it, and we're still not understand most of it. You do. I know you are on TikTok because I do see you repost them on Instagram. I do see that, and but it's such this new phenomenon, and all the kids are on it.
Yeah.
Gary Vee and Rachel Hollis both have accounts.
Wow.
So they do talk to you. Gary Vaynerchuk and Rachel Hollis both have TikTok accounts and are adapting their adult content to the children content because it is motivational, and especially for Rachel Hollis, she spoke to her son and she saw how many hours he was spending on it, watching it, and so she asked him questions about how kids at 11 were feeling in high school, and that brought on amazing conversations. So she sort of geared specific body positive or other topics that high school kids need to hear. And yeah, the content's really cool. Like, I watch it and I'm like, yes. So yeah, there's something to do there. I think what people like about it is it's fast, it's fun, and it's like a new version of the Vine. I don't know if yeah, it's like a new age Vine, sort of. Yeah, it's gonna grow very fast. You better get on it, Patrick.
How many people here are on TikTok? Show of hands. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna catch on. It's gonna catch on.
One thing I did.
Yeah.
One thing I did that was very different, even though my kids are on social media, especially TikTok, they don't actually have devices. So my kids don't have any devices, so they have to go through me. So the TikTok thing actually is very addictive. Is actually, yeah, I find it a bit worrying. And they will steal my phone to get onto it, and I hear the TikTok music, I hear them, they're just like, and it's literally just binge watching people making videos, right? And they can make, I think when they make videos together, they can be really creative and really fun, and they do some really cool stuff, but I find it quite dangerous to get them. I think my kids are too young, their brains is a little bit like when they do gaming. Like earlier, my son was on Minecraft, and I said, your time's up, and he suddenly had that brain reaction where I can't stop. And I was like, whoa, and that scares me a little bit because they can't really let go of the technology because their brain, the addiction bit, yeah, it's strong. It's hard to manage. Yeah.
If anybody doesn't know what TikTok is, it's like short music videos where you lip sync and then you can sort of merge videos together. And you do a lot of editing. There's short videos, and I'll make a bold prediction. TikTok is going to be the Vine in 5 years or so. It's going to fizzle out because TikTok bought over something called Musical.ly, and Musical.ly was just basically like not 7-second videos, but short videos where you lip sync songs, and it's fun. It's interactive. It certainly is addictive because of the short nature of it and the quick rush that it gets you when something goes viral or starts getting a lot of views. But that's the same thing on all social media. That's what drives it. We'll see where it goes, but I have a prediction it's not going to last too long because it's a very limited format in terms of structure, but it's what makes it, it's the fact that it's short and catchy that makes it popular in the short run. But long run, Facebook, Instagram videos, Twitter videos, and YouTube is going to win. Well, then,
Did you have something to add, Shannon? No?
He was just asking you.
Oh, okay. So we'll start with you then. now we get to the real questions. Okay, we get to like why we all came for here. So it's when you hear the question. Again, this is very different. It's not like I want to have a social media account. Now it's mom or dad, I want to become an influencer. When you hear that, as a parent, what is your reaction towards this?
If it's their plan B, absolutely. So long as they stay focused on a career, I have no problems. I would support them in it. If, it's fun. It's like, in university, if you did modeling or acting, you sort of, fun. Absolutely. You want to make some money at it, go for it. But have a plan A, right? It's like if someone says, I want to be an NHL player. Okay, hon, right? There's like 1% of people that actually get to that level. It's the same thing as influencers. Not everyone's going to be making the millions. But if you're having fun at it and you can get together with friends and stuff, no problem. But like I said, finish university.
Because
That's
it is
me.
Yeah, because it is the real question. It's like it's so new, we don't know if
It's not a career.
Like how long can we go with it? Because we can make a lot of money, but
Yes.
how long? That's always a question I'm curious about, and we'll see. We'll see down the.
I
down
don't
the
think, like, there'll be a 1% of people that can make a career out of it, but not everybody can, and there's everybody trying to do it. So I think people can have fun at it, for sure.
Well, I sort of thought it's like the analogy back in the day was I want to be a rock star or I want to be a Hollywood actor, and now it's like Hollywood has come to everybody's bathroom, basement, bedroom, and so everybody says I want to be an influencer. I think from a personal standpoint, my kid's sort of fortunate in that she's seen the struggle that I've gone through in order to even get to this very respectable level where I'm at on YouTube, and it's been years of learning the platform, all this stuff. And we've set out, we've discussed what it takes to actually be an influencer or get popular on Instagram, the good things that people do to get popular and the bad things they do. But it's not a fad, it's just another redirected way of saying I want to be a Hollywood star, except now Hollywood is in your house. And it's so much more accessible, but to the extent that people know, they are flashes in the pan influencers, and then what do you do after your influence is diminished? You have to not have a plan B, but rather you have to do this on the side as a pastime while planning something that's much longer term that you can fall back on or just use while you do this in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think at different ages, the children's ages, it really varies as the perspective of what it is. Like my son, he thinks he's almost an influencer and he's got like 4 followers on YouTube. Because they're his friends and they're interacting and they're commenting on his videos, but for him, he's made it almost. But also, like he watches the family. There's a lot of family on the kids' YouTube channel, and you see them from their houses have gone from little really small houses, and then they're living in mansions and stuff. And he's like, Mom, if I do toy reviews, I'll be able to buy us a house. So their perspective obviously changes with age and stuff. But I don't know. My kids talk more about like working with me and my agency a lot. Like he talks more about not really being a YouTuber or an influencer, but that is a channel for him. He wants to be more like a videographer. So I'm like, that's a good platform to practice and edit and enjoy that. But yeah, the perception of actually achieving influence status obviously changes with age. It's really my son who's really going that way, but it's more of a channel for him to use his videography and train his tools and his skill sets.
Ditto to everything that's been said. But what I could add though is I think it's important when we have these conversations with the kids is to give them the perspective. I don't know if you guys know who Jake Paul is, but he's a very big, popular YouTuber. And we actually went with Raphael a year and a half ago to Toronto to see the concert, take the pictures, and waited like 6 hours in line, the whole thing. But before that, on the way driving down to Toronto, I had him listen to an interview he gave with Lewis Howes on his podcast, talking about discipline. And so sometimes we perceive those influencers as people who do nothing. And what Jake Paul says clearly is that he has to make choices. He can't go out, hang out with friends. As much as the videos look fun, but they're set up to be fun. But in reality, it's a ton of work to be producing a video a day. It's huge, it's monumentous. And it takes body discipline, it takes mental discipline. And once you start having this conversation with kids, they don't necessarily want to do it anymore. So, not saying that we want to deter them if it's something they really want to do, as long as they understand what it entails and what it involves. I think that's how I go about it to have the discussion.
what would you tell other parents, considering that you're all on social media, you're using it for your business, or this is something that you do very often, and you obviously all have kids who are on social media and so on. What would you tell other parents so that they should know about when their kids want to be on social media or become an influencer?
I think I mentioned this on the podcast. I think it's not about the medium, and a lot of parents are scared of kids being on social media because it's kind of a reflection of their parenting. If you've been present and taught your kids to regulate and do your best at connecting with them daily and have an open dialogue, then having social media is just another extension of anything else they're doing. Versus the kid that is, disconnected from the parent and just goes on social media and does or acts in a specific way, and the parent feels like overwhelmed. So the social media is on the outside. Figure out what is triggering you on the inside. If your kid says, I want to have Instagram or whatever medium they want to be using. And it's about dialogue. It can be a way to connect with your kid too, because Raf comes to me and asks me how to, edit and post, and it's a way to bond as well. But it's all about the intention and how you perceive things and how you put them within context. And extremes are black and white sometimes. I don't know. They don't work very well in my world. So I don't know about other people, but so that's my opinion.
So I'm one of those parents that I believe strongly that if you say no to something, they're most probably going to go and do it anyway and without your supervision and do it in their own way. So isn't it better to go, you're going to have, if the majority of people doing it, isn't it better to do it on your terms and with them rather than them sneakily doing it behind their back and sending the pictures that are inappropriate and not really understanding the consequences? So it's little things. It's like, for example, like nail varnish. When I was a kid, and especially going to private school in England, we would never dare wear nail varnish to school. But it's a huge thing now, the kids are all doing it. And my partner at the moment, he's like, well, no, we shouldn't let her wear nail varnish. And I'm like, but they're all doing it. So let's do it with her, but moderated. So let's do the pastel colors. Let's do it for special occasions. So we've found a middle ground. So I think it's the same thing for social media. And our way of doing it is with controlling the devices. First of all, I had an old iPad. I gave it to my son, and then I quickly took it away. And I gave an old phone to my daughter, and I took it away. And I did it in a way where we have these things in the house. We even have a VR I mentioned on the podcast, and it's a big thing in our family, but we do these activities together. So that's why I was wanting to do the videos with my son and make it an activity together. And so I think it's better to do it in moderation and together rather than let them do it freely and not understand the consequences or how to manage it properly.
So my advice to the kids that ask me is much more pragmatic and down to practical, because when I go to school and I drop my kid off, all of her friends sort of follow the channel and they say, how many subs do you have now? And I want to be a YouTuber as well and be an influencer, but they don't use that word. And I said, well, good. What's your thing gonna be? What's your shtick? And they said, I'll do gaming or something. I said, okay, good. You know how many gamers are out there that you're gonna have to break into this oversaturated market in order to succeed? And they said, oh, well, then maybe I'll do this. I said, well, so what you should do is instead of worrying about being an influencer or striving to be a celebrity, pick your niche, learn your trade, master it, become a name within it, and then you become an influencer almost naturally. But you need to develop an expertise, because swimming in a sea of millions of fish, you're not going to get noticed very easily. And if you pick something that is just oversaturated already, what you're going to have to do to succeed, you may not like what you're going to have to do to succeed in that industry. And speaking of Jake Paul, you can see what Logan Paul, the daily vlogger, resorted to in order to achieve success, or as a result of success. Sometimes the things you have to do to crack into a certain field that's already oversaturated, and that is not necessarily the most sophisticated of niches on YouTube, most people might not actually like once they realize what they have to do. But my advice to all of them is, if you want to be an influencer, work on finding a specialty, cracking into the niche, and making yourself known in that niche.
There's not a lot to add to that. But I would say just find your passion, whatever that is, and then figure out how you want to share that, whether it's through social media or through real life. And to be an influencer doesn't have to be through social media. You can be an influencer in real life by helping causes, or giving back, or learning how to help the environment, like we just saw that happen last Friday here, right? And so sometimes it's figuring out your passion and growing that. Social media can help you reach that. And I think that's probably the better conversation to have with the kids at any age. That's my opinion.
Like I really want to like have a longer conversation about this. This is what we're doing. This is our third part of this conversation. I think we can go on and on for forever, but I mean that's all the time we have, and I do have to like cut it here. But it was really eye-opening. I'm not a parent yet, but I mean this was an eye-opener because I get to learn from you, and I hope everyone here is taking mental notes to learn from these wonderful parents who are also on social media themselves. So it's like learning from them and seeing how to react to all these new technological changes that we're all going through. It's not easy. You know, we get a lot of parents knocking on our door saying, "What do I do if my kid wants to become an influencer?" And I could never have the answer because I don't have kids. But thank you so much for sharing this with us.